All right, welcome back. So I am extremely excited. I finished my last proctored exam yesterday. Hopefully I passed this course. I have to remind myself that my failures do not equate to me being a failure. I am not happy at all with my performance this semester, although I'm extending grace because I know how unstable my situation has been and the things that I've had to go through and just the stressors that I've been under. And so when you consider that, I've actually performed pretty well. And I mean, these courses are very challenging. When you do your degree audit, make sure you have a good relationship with your academic advisor. My academic advisors are great. It's just, they're super busy. And so trying to get a hold of them is sometimes challenging. And I do feel that most college students don't really understand how to navigate their degree audits and really understand like which courses are most beneficial for them, ones that they need to take, that really align with what they're studying and their interests, and understanding which courses are upper division and which ones are not. For the past 3 semesters, I've been taking freaking upper division courses, not realizing it, because some of those courses can still be introductory courses. And the course load, the amount of work and the expectation of performance is insane. And the amount of writing and reading, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm just like, how do I keep ending up in these courses? They want you to do PhD level work in these courses. And if you have a course like that with a professor that is already demanding and challenges you, which none of these things are bad things, right? But when you're going through, it's just not wise to have scheduled the courses that I did, not understanding the rigor of them. And so I'm glad that I am saving a lot of my heavy duty sciences, math courses and things like that for my final years to complete my undergrad. I actually have to do an extra year or two because with medical anthropology, you really can't be considered a medical anthropologist or doing much in the field unless you have a master's degree. So it's going to extend the time that I am, waiting to apply to and get into medical school, which I'm okay with because I want to get this master's so that I can, make use of this field and this undergraduate degree. But anyway, plus double minoring too kind of makes it difficult. And then I have the nerve to think about being dual enrolled in another university at HBCU to study other things. And I'm just like, I'm trying to do too much. I really need to calm down and sit down and really just get done what's in front of me. But that is still kind of the plan, is to pursue higher level degrees at the same time in conjunction to, anyway, listen, a girl can dream. But anywho, so many interesting things that I really want to start delving into and talking about, especially Dr. Amen. Is it Amen or Amen? I don't know. He's a wonderful neurologist though. His 7 types, or his theory of the 7 types of ADHD. Oh God, I fear that I might be inching toward the ring of freaking fire, dude. The worst kind, the most severe kind that you can have. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. This is really crazy. So I don't know. I definitely want to do, more assessments. I want to get a brain scan and other things to really know for sure. But yikes. But anyway, yeah, that's something I'm interested in. And then also wanting to, something that has really intrigued me in being exposed to just the field of medical anthropology and all the different sections and subsections within that is this idea of strategic suffering and moralizing your condition and narrative illness. And there's a such thing, I mentioned this I think in another recording, as narrative medicine, and some of the clinicians in the practice that I'm a part of do observe that and practice that with the patients that they serve. And I think it is such a beautiful thing because perception in many ways becomes our reality, and what we believe, right, as a man thinketh, as the scripture says, so is he. And that applies to all of mankind. And I think our brains having the power that they do, it is so very true. What we believe and what we think about our situation, about our suffering, about our illness, about our experience shapes our suffering and our illness and our experience and the world around us and the experiences that we'll have interacting with our environment and with the people in our lives. So it has this social, cultural impact beyond just the biological. And we have a lot of power in what we tell ourselves and what we choose to believe. It's a choice. It really is. But also too, we can't be blind to the fact that other people's perception outside of ourselves still can also shape a lot of our realities, especially when those people perceiving us and whatever condition we may be subject to or dealing with, have power and influence. And so, like I mentioned in another recording, all of these things when it comes to these diagnoses, when it comes to biomedicine, when it comes to all of this stuff, the philosophies, ideologies, or whatever, are man-made, right? And this whole idea of what is neurotypical and neuroatypical or neurodivergent, it's all made up. There were vested interests at the time of these terms being conceived. And so you have to take those things into consideration for sure, especially when you're dealing with marginalized, underserved, quote unquote, minority, impoverished, oppressed people. There's always a deeper, usually darker agenda there. And so there is a need for more care and consideration and just mindfulness, especially when it comes to the diagnostic process and understanding and dealing with those kinds of individuals. And so it's a lot. It's really deep, and I love it. I think it is so wonderful, and I'm so excited to go down the rabbit hole and to do more, exploring and eventually get to a place where I can conduct my own research and all of the things. Really, really excited. The brain is just so amazing, and the mind as well. But yeah, I'm in a place where, and it's so weird to say and uncomfortable to say, but it is what it is. I'm in a place where I'm suffering strategically instead of suffering just to suffer and flailing about with no real grasp or direction. The fact that I can be empowered in knowing that my suffering can be purposeful and felt and experienced with intent and morality is a beautiful thing and a privilege, and necessary, I think, for survival and just trudging along to accomplish what I'm looking to accomplish. But strategic suffering really is a thing. And there are a few articles that we got a chance to read that kind of showed what that looked like, in real life. And it had to do with cancer patients in Mexico, actually, both male and female, and kind of how they told themselves a different story about why they were dealing with the cancers and what that meant for the roles that they served in their families and in their communities. And though there's a lot of sadness and there's a lot of heaviness to just the reality of being ill, it was so beautiful, to see how they were able to kind of repurpose that understanding and to empower themselves in their situations and kind of restructure their identity and just manage the difficulties of like everyday life, especially social situations and social expectations, and redefining like this master status of, the world seeing them as their illness as opposed to individuals who are championing through life and dealing with these particular ailments or issues. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing, the power that we have in our minds and our ability to reshape our understanding and perspective of life and our experience in life. And so if you are dealing with a chronic illness of any kind or multiple, look into strategic suffering and look into narrative medicine, and definitely seek out some form of psycho or talk therapy where you can really begin to just formulate a different perspective and mindset in regards to your situation. Because as we think, we truly become, and our thoughts have way, way more power than we even realize. And it's a beautiful thing, because if your thoughts are that powerful, just imagine what bringing those thoughts to life through words, through vibration with the words that you speak can do. And then through action, my goodness, it's crazy. I don't think we give those phenomena enough credit to just how powerful they are. But truly, life and death is in the tongue, and I believe that. And so if you can think something and you can speak something and you can act on something, you literally create your reality. Whether that's good or bad, it's up to you. And that in and of itself is extremely powerful. So think good things, speak life, make good decisions, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. So I just want to chime in here to kind of go over the type that I was referring to. It's called the Ring of Fire, and it's the most severe. I don't believe that I have this, but I think that I do experience a certain level of these things. So one of the ways that it manifests is sensitivity to your environment or environmental stimuli, noise, light, touch. Listen, I don't take well to people touching me. Like, that has kind of been the story of my life. Even when I give hugs to people, it is very kind of distant, and then a little pat on the back or a few pats, depending on the number of pats, is correlates to how much I love or like you. It's so funny. At some point, it just became an inside joke for me. I don't really embrace people, and my sisters and I were just not raised that way either. So there's other underlying reasons there. But for most platonic situations and just acquaintanceships and, normal relationships in that regard, social relationships in that regard, I'm not a big touch person. Light, oh my goodness, all my life, I've been like, I am allergic. I have a light sensitivity. Like, I have synthetic light that is not natural light. Woo. And if it's not ambient, low light, I can't be in it for too long. I will get a headache. I will get a migraine. I will not be able to think straight. It does not work for me at all. And that has been my experience since middle school. Noise, my goodness. It's crazy because I can listen to loud music and things in my headphones, which you really shouldn't. But noise just in my environment, when things are too loud, no, thank you. Cannot do it. Cannot do it. Sudden aggression, I don't believe that I don't experience anything like that physically. I think when I communicate, sometimes I can have these spurts of like passion, or my volume can increase when I'm communicating. Like when I examine myself and my speech, I can see that. Severe mood swings, I do not experience that. I do have moods like most people, and have moments when I feel like doing something or don't feel like doing something, etc. Yeah, severe mood swings, sudden aggression, don't really experience those things. But the rapid speech, I do to some degree. Also because I, for years, have been listening to most lectures and like just content that I consume that is auditory on like 2 or 3 times speed. Maybe 1.5, maybe 1.75, but for the most part, 2 times speed. And so, yeah, I do also talk very fast. And even when I was younger, like, I think this was middle school as well, I was able to say like the 50 United States really fast, and the teacher and kids always want me to do that and kind of perform that, and I can read really fast, and yeah, I talk very fast sometimes. And I think listening, like I need to hear things fast too. So I don't know if I would necessarily qualify for that, but excuse me, when I look at the other ones, so there's classic, inattentive, overfocused, temporal lobe, limbic, ring of fire, and anxious. Yeah, when I look at the other ones, and there's probably a bit of all of this in people just in general who deal with ADHD. But, I don't know. And I guess, it really just depends on like a brain scan to really determine this over a period of time probably as well, or like in different situations or exposed to the stimuli. Wow. It's deep, y'all. It's really deep. Interesting stuff.